was anticlimactic. Anyway, got a review due. Hello, YouTube. So, have you ever wanted to see a kid-friendly version of Deadpool that isn't a mercenary? Well, if you said no, too bad. We're looking at that today. This is Freakazoid. Let's get into it. So, as the name implies, the show is about the superhero Freakazoid, who was created by the internet. Yeah, I guess I should probably go into that. One Christmas, a computer geek named Dexter Douglas got a computer chip and nothing else. Don't know why he didn't get anything else for Christmas that year. Anyway, yeah, he got a computer chip, and yeah, the chip was a little bit faulty. You see, if you put in a certain code and then hit delete, then you'll get sucked into the internet and get superpowers. Don't really know if that's a problem or not, though. I mean, you'll get superpowers. It's pretty awesome. Guess it just depends as to who you are, but yeah, still, you get powers out of it. Anyway, Dexter got sucked into the internet because his cat was being stupid and walking on his keyboard, so yeah, obviously the certain code got typed in and then he tried to delete it, even though he wasn't in front of the code, so that wouldn't have done anything. He should have been clicking backspace, but yeah, anyway, so yeah, he tries deleting it even though it wouldn't work that way, and then he gets sucked into the computer, and well, like I said before, he gets superpowers, and pretty much those powers are activated whenever he says freak out, which is something that I guess he'll never say in day-to-day life, so he should be fine there, because I know nobody ever says freak out in their average lives. Seriously, I'm pretty sure they would say this a lot. So anyway, yeah, he gets powers and eventually finds out how to activate them and control them, and yeah, that's pretty much it. He just does stuff with the powers. And why did he become a superhero exactly, instead of becoming a villain or something? Well, he wanted to get girls. Truly a noble reason. So yeah, actually he's a great character on this. So yeah, that's pretty much it, really. He goes around and does stuff with his powers. Sometimes it's kind of mundane stuff. Sometimes he's fighting supervillains. It really just depends as to what he decides. And yeah, that's really kind of it. Or sometimes we'll just get shorts in between. Like in the first few episodes, they do have shorts, and they're not really full episodes of Freakazoid. They include shorts halfway through, and yeah, I wasn't really the biggest fan of that. Honestly, though, I did like some of the shorts, especially the Lord Bravery shorts. Those were hilarious, but yeah, really, it just sort of feels like it was kind of unneeded. I mean, did we really need these shorts in between? I mean, I guess that maybe they were just trying something to just experiment with it at the time, see what would stick and what wouldn't, but still, I honestly feel like the shorts really were an interruption to the main story sometimes. Well, the ones that did involve Freakazoid were usually something that I wouldn't mind, and the shorts themselves are actually pretty funny. It's just that they usually tend to get in the way of something that I feel like really could have been established a little bit more, developed some more. But nope, we apparently did not need to see what would happen with a guy who can turn beavers into gold. Oh yeah, there's a guy who can turn beavers into gold in this show. Did I mention that this show is weird? Yeah, the show is weird. Very, very weird. Mostly due to some of the villains on this show. Sure, they are very funny, it's just sometimes they're very random. Like, there's Cave Guy. A character who's kind of like the Hulk if he were a villain. Unless when he actually is a villain in the comics. And yet he's also very well educated, so I guess more like the Beast that way. But yeah, anyway, it's kind of weird. So he's so well educated that he just walks around in a loincloth. Because of course. And he also decides the best weapon of choice isn't a gun or a sword or anything. No, it's a club. because that's more effective somehow. So, yeah, there are some kind of odd choices in times like that, and yeah, there are also just some weird moments in the show sometimes, like when the Lobe, a guy who pretty much has a brain for a head, like I said, the show was weird. He goes into a musical number for like 4 minutes of an episode. It goes on for a long time, even so much so that at the very end of that episode, during the end credits, if you pause at the right moment, the animators give a very, very funny explanation as to why they had such a long musical episode in that. I just really do want to know why sometimes. I'm pretty sure that their reasoning there wasn't actually the case, because they say aliens made them do that. So, yeah, I really do want to know why they needed a 4 minute interlude of the Lobe singing about going into a restaurant to go eat food. Yeah, there are just some weird moments like that. However, that doesn't mean that the humor of the show doesn't work well. It's actually really well done. For the most part, it's usually fourth wall breaks and meta humor and pop culture references, but they work really well. There's a reason why I would compare this character to Deadpool if he were more kid friendly. He really is here. It's really kind of fun to watch, and if you are a fan of Deadpool, I do recommend checking out this show. However, there are a few negatives with the humor here. If you're not into meta humor and you don't really like the direction that it's going after like the first 4 episodes, I recommend turning it off, because after that it will continue to get more weird, or it'll get even better if you actually do like meta humor like I do. So I had a lot of fun watching this. It's just that, yeah, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who probably won't enjoy the type of humor on here. Although that doesn't mean that the humor in here isn't good. It's just, yeah, it's a very selective taste. So, really, when you get down to it, there isn't much to say about the story, as it really sort of does whatever. It's more like weekly story episodes with only one connecting theme, which is Gutierrez, who I'll get into later. But yeah, that's really the only connection between episodes. Oh, and Freakazoid is there, and sometimes his girlfriend in Cosgrove is there too. That's really it. So, yeah, there isn't much of a connection between episodes, which, if you like episodes with continuing story arcs and stuff, this might not be the show for you. And also, if you don't like meta humor, then yeah, this probably isn't for you either. However, I personally am a fan of meta humor, and I don't really mind shows that don't have story arcs, so yeah, I actually very much enjoyed this show and could really get into the humor of it. Also, the idea of having a superhero that was made by a computer geek just being a computer geek is really kind of awesome, and actually kind of holds up better than it did when the show first came out. It's really kind of funny how that turned out, but yeah, for the story overall, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Mostly due to, yeah, it does have a very loose feel to it a lot, and yeah, there are some people who I'm sure wouldn't enjoy the humor here, and yeah, there were times where some of the jokes did go over my head. Actually, quite a few times where that happened, and yeah, I'm not ashamed of admitting that. Some of the jokes are kind of obscure sometimes, or at least for me they were, so yeah, really, there are some moments like that where it just might go completely over your head, or it's just not your style of humor, but overall, I do recommend giving it a watch. So, now that we're out of the story, let's get into the characters. Since this is a TV show and not a movie, there are a lot of characters there in this show, so I'll only go over the most recurring ones, or the ones that are my personal favorite. So, with that said, let's start off with the main character, Freakazoid. He's a lot of fun in this show. Like I said before, the meta humor is really great, and Freakazoid's the one to emphasize that the most. He really uses it well, and I really did enjoy this character. Really, the only negative that I would have about him is that, yeah, he doesn't really seem to feel like being put in dangerous situations where there is a giant cobra almost strangling you to death. is a really big deal. I mean, I get that, yeah, he's comedic and stuff, but there's no real sense of danger there. And I'm only saying this because, yeah, I do need to be critical about him here, and yeah, that really is kind of the only thing that I didn't really like that much. I mean, if I'm being truly honest here, honestly, I didn't really mind it that much while watching it, but yeah, being critical here, yeah, he doesn't really seem to care that much about a werewolf being there or anything. Which, yeah, can kind of take out some of the feeling of danger in these situations. Even when they do try and emphasize that, yeah, the situation is dangerous, yeah, then there's so Freakazoid making references and breaking the fourth wall to kind of take you out of it. I mean, I see why this was done, it's just that, yeah, that can be kind of distracting if you're actually trying to get into the danger aspect of everything. Really, there's only like one episode, the Relaxo Vision one, where he actually does seem to actually be a little bit concerned here, and that's because, well, the Lobe stole his girlfriend. And yeah, that was kind of it, really. That's the only episode where he actually seems to be afraid for something, and yeah, kind of does take me out of it a bit, but yeah, that's only because I'm actually having to be critical here. While I'm watching the show, I don't really mind it. It's just, yeah, I do have to actually analyze the show here, unfortunately. So then we got Cosgrove. What's there to say about Cosgrove? He is amazing. He is a cop on this show, and he is hilarious. I just gotta say it. He's great in this. Really, he's just a lot of fun here, and there's not really anything to hate about him. Really, the only thing that I don't really like about him, and this isn't actually me just being critical here, it's actually something that I did notice while watching the show that did kind of strike me as odd, is that at one point, he eventually decides to go across the world to help out Freakazoid doing stuff. He's still a cop. He's busy doing other stuff, right? Does Freakazoid just take up his whole life now? Really, that's kind of the only thing that I had a problem with, is that eventually he kind of didn't seem like a one-off gag character, and yeah, he was great as that. But yeah, after a while, he started to feel a bit more like one of the main ones, and I feel like that might not have been completely needed. Although that's not to say that's a bad thing. I love Cosgrove, and he's hilarious here. It's just that, yeah, I feel like he might have been a little bit too involved at times. But again, it's not a bad thing. He's still a great character. Then we got Dexter Douglas. Dear God, is this guy nerdy? Seriously, he's such a nerd, and it's hilarious, really. This coming from someone who is obviously a nerd, too, but yeah, he's just hilarious in how nerdy he is. He reads funny stories in binary, for crying out loud. He's hilarious, really, and yeah, I just really had a fun time watching Dexter, even though he isn't in the show that much. Yeah, even though he's one of the main characters, he's only in 9 episodes. Yeah, he's not the most important out of all the characters on this show, but at least he's there, I guess. So, yeah, he's also very funny. I do enjoy him. As for the rest of his family, they're very funny too. They're not in it as much either, but they are still a lot of fun. I especially love his parents, and particularly his mother, who, she's just hilarious. Honestly, I just love her in this show. She's just great. Then we got Steph. I mean, I don't hate her or anything. She's just kind of not. She doesn't really get that much character outside of she's the girlfriend. I mean, like, she's cool and all. I still like her, and she's so resourceful, too. She's proven that in episodes. It's just, yeah, there's not really that much to her, but that's not to say that she isn't a good character. I enjoy her here, and she is actually pretty funny, so yeah, I got nothing against her. She's just not that interesting of a character or as fun as some of the others, but again, not to say that's a bad thing. And then we got the Lobe. Again, super fun character. Really, I just love the idea of a villain who is incredibly intelligent being outsmarted by a guy created by the computer who just references pop culture all the time. Honestly, the Lobe is just a really funny character, and I do love seeing him in this show. He's just really great and enjoyable. And well, yeah, he's not one of the main characters. I do still very much enjoy him, and he's a fun comedic foil for Freakazoid. And then we got Gutierrez. He references Star Trek 2 a lot, mostly because he was in Star Trek 2. Yeah, he's voiced by the same guy who played Khan in Star Trek 2. And if you didn't know that, then you will hear a lot of references to it. I haven't even seen Star Trek 2, and yet I know all these references when they come. It's kind of overdone a bit, and yeah, that's really a big problem with Gutierrez. He seems like he's gonna be Freakazoid's arch nemesis. It's just that he's not really that threatening, or at least not to me. I feel like they were trying to go for a much more threatening character here out of all the more silly villains on the show, but yeah, really Gutierrez, well, a fun character and one that I do enjoy watching, especially that laugh with me bit, that's hilarious. But yeah, there are definitely some moments where, yeah, he's not that interesting or really all that funny, mostly because he repeats a lot of his jokes, mostly the Rafa Khan stuff, and yeah, sometimes that can really take away from the character a bit. Although that's not to say he doesn't have his great moments. Like the Gutierrez's favorite blooper reel bit. I love that. It's absolutely hilarious, and I honestly rewound it after seeing it the first time. So yeah, that's not to say that he isn't a funny character or one that I enjoy on the show. It's just that, yeah, out of all of them, he's probably one of the weaker characters here. And also, he's probably going to be one of the last villains I talk about here, as most of the other ones are just side characters. Although, out of all the side villains on the show, my personal favorite is Invisible. Why? Well, for one, I'm a huge fan of The Invisible Man because those movies are great and I'm a nerd who loves them. And also has seen the 2000 to 2001 TV show based off of it. I might like The Invisible Man a little bit too much to dive that deep. Anyway, yeah, I'm a huge fan of The Invisible Man, so seeing Invisible on this show was great, and the obvious references to him here are very clever at times, especially with the sawdust bit. I really loved that. Oh, and also him walking on Freakazoid just to show the footprints. I loved that as well. Also, the way they reference how sometimes the effects for the Invisible Man movies would get pretty cheap with the string thing. I just love Invisible here. Also, I love the back and forth between his voices. Really, the actor who plays him does a great job. For one, channeling Vincent Price's acting into this, as yeah, Vincent Price did play the Invisible Man in both Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein and The Invisible Man Returns. Like I said, I love The Invisible Man. So yeah, I really did love seeing that being referenced there, as yeah, he would sometimes play the character, but not always. I did love the way that was done, and he was really funny, and he's my personal favorite side villain. Although Candle Jack is good too. Wait, I just said his name. Oh crap, he's gonna come and take me. Or not. Okay, so yeah, anyway, let's get back onto the characters. So, then we got Professor Jones. He takes over being Freakazoid's butler. Yeah, he did at one point have a mute butler, but yeah, he just sort of quit one day. So then Professor Jones took over. He's funny. Although really a wimp. Seriously, dude, nothing threatening was happening when you were watching a guy smash watermelons. It's not that big a deal that you should be panicking in the seat and stay in the theater long after it was closed. You know you can get up and walk on your own, right? You're an adult. Come on. But yeah, Professor Jones, well, very funny character, sometimes can be a bit too much of a just pathetic character. You know, to the point where computer nerd Dexter Douglas is more brave than him. And that's saying a lot. So, yeah, really, Professor Jones, wow, you are a funny character. You are a wimp. So, yeah. Moving on. Then we got Fanboy. He's a lot of fun. Really, he's pretty much every overdone fan cliche ever, and he's great, really. I just love the way that he was executed, and he's a whole lot of fun. And then we got Joe. He's the narrator, because apparently I love talking about narrators. So, yeah, Joe the narrator. Kind of like the other narrator I've talked about on this show. Just so you know, if you guys didn't watch that one, the one from Arrested Development, he's got a lot of character to him, and I really do love the way that's done. Heck, there are even some moments where his actor actually comes out and tries acting. It's really funny. And honestly, I just love Joe's character in this. He's a great narrator as well, and yeah, I just love seeing Freakazoid break the fourth wall to him sometimes, which, yeah, might just be me loving breaking the fourth wall humor, but yeah, I just love how it was executed with Joe. He's a whole lot of fun, and yeah, I just love him here. He's great. Then we got the final one I want to talk about. And this one is actually from one of the Freakazoid shorts that were featured on the show. This one is my personal favorite, like I said before, Lord Bravery. Now, you might be wondering, why am I talking about one of the characters from the shorts on the show instead of, well, for one, all of them on the show, or just not talking about them at all? Well, they are still a part of the show. There's no erasing that. And if I'm going to talk about them, I might as well talk about my personal favorite. Because, well, yes, there are a whole lot of other funny shorts from the little featured shorts in these shows. It's just that Lord Bravery was my personal favorite. And the reason for that, just the dry humor about it. I absolutely adore it. It has a very Monty Python feel to it, and I just love it. Seriously, Lord Bravery, I wish that there were more Lord Bravery shorts in this show. Seriously, I just love this character and want to see so much more of him. He's great. Why didn't this character get his own show or something? He was amazing. So yeah, Lord Bravery was easily my favorite out of all the shorts on the show, and yeah, I just found him hilarious here. So yeah, that's kind of it for the characters, actually. So when it comes down to them, I'm gonna give them a 7 out of 10, as yeah, most as well. Yeah, I do really like all the characters on this show. There are some of them that are okay, pretty much all of them are simply just joke characters, and yeah, sometimes that can be a bit kind of boring at times, as every single character is mostly made for a joke in some way. And while yes, I do enjoy those characters for that, and they are very funny, it's just sometimes I can get a little bit old after a while. Although, again, that's not to say they're bad for it, it's just that, yeah, sometimes it can get a little bit old, and yeah, there are some. Yeah, again, if you can't get into this type of humor, yeah, you probably shouldn't check it out at all. But yeah, really, you wouldn't find the characters that enjoyable. Although, I enjoyed them for the most part. It's just that, yeah, some of them either repeat jokes too much or can just sort of be kind of bland. But again, that's not a bad thing. I do enjoy them a lot. So now let's get into the animation. So when it comes to the animation, there really isn't that much to say. Not because it's bad or anything, but because it's so good. This is done by the same people who did Pinky and the Brain, Tiny Toons, and Animaniacs. So obviously they know what they're doing, and it really shows here. The animation is very quick, but it still is very smooth, and the colors are very well chosen, and they're well used. I really do love the animation on this show. It's just that there really isn't that much to say about it. Honestly, it's just very simple cartoony animation done by extremely talented people who know what they're doing. So yeah, it comes off as really, really good to look at. So I love the animation in this show. Really, the only thing that I would have a bit of a problem with is that, like I said, it's kind of simple in design. Yeah, sure, there are some moments where they do get more detailed, especially in the Homage to the Universal Monsters episode, mostly with the Wolfman. I really do love the animation done there, mostly because, well, it looks a whole lot like the old Universal Monster Wolfman movie, and I love the way that was executed there, and it comes off really well, and as a great homage. So, yeah, that's really. But, yeah, that's really where they get to shine the most in detail animation. Outside of that, though, it is very simplistic, cartoony design, which, while not a bad thing at all, and I do like it, and it very much fits this character, it's just that, yeah, it is very simple, but again, it's not a bad thing. So, overall, 10 out of 10. I really do love the animation here. It's done by extremely talented people. And well, yeah, I do have one minor nitpick about it. That's only because I have to nitpick this. Really, I hate nitpicking it. It looks amazing and it's really done by extremely talented people in animation. I really do love what they did with it here. And they did an outstanding job. So, yeah, 10 out of 10. So, as for the show itself, it's a whole lot of fun. Really, there isn't that much to say about outside of if you enjoy meta humor and if maybe you're a fan of Deadpool or something and you want to see a more kid friendly portrayal of the character, then this is definitely a show for you. Also, if you're a fan of superheroes and you want to see one that kind of pokes fun at the genre while also very well being a good one, I definitely would recommend this. Now, it's not for everybody. Like I said before, meta humor is a very, very particular taste, and yeah, there are some jokes that did fly over my head, so yeah, it kind of does take away a bit of the jokes that way, but really, those are only some minor nitpicks. Oh, and also, the characters can be a bit bland, mostly due to them just being there for a joke usually, but again, that's only that's only because I had to nitpick this stuff. I really do love the way this show was done. It's a very fun show and one that I had a great time watching. So, honestly, 9 out of 10. This show is really enjoyable and is that really a surprise? I mean, Steven Spielberg is the executive producer of this show. Is that really are you going to go in and be surprised that it's good when Steven Spielberg is behind this? I mean, really, it's not that surprising. It's great for a reason. It had very talented people behind it, and they knew what they were doing, and they had a lot of fun with it. So, honestly, I really just enjoyed the show and highly recommend it. So, yeah, go check it out if you're interested. So that's pretty much it for this one. And next week we'll be looking at a movie that was actually recommended to me by the producer of it called By Any Means. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye.